All right, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
It is finally Friday. Today, we're in the first part of a three-part parallel. Caiaphas questions Jesus, and it's going to start in Matthew chapter 26, starting in verse 57. When the people who had arrested Jesus led him to the home of Caiaphas, the high priest, where the teachers of religious law and elders were gathered. Meanwhile, Peter followed him at a distance and came to the high priest's courtyard. He went in and sat with the guards and waited to see how it all ended. Inside, the leading priest and the entire high council were trying to find witnesses who would lie about Jesus so they could put him to death. But even though they found many who agreed to give false witnesses, they could not use anyone's testimony. Finally, two men came forward who declared, "This man said, I am able to destroy the temple of God and rebuild it in 3 days." Then the high priest stood up and said to Jesus, "Well, aren't you going to answer these charges? What do you have to say for yourself?" But Jesus remained silent. Then the high priest said to him, "I demand in the name of the living God, tell us if you are the Messiah, the Son of God." Jesus replied, "You have said it, and in the future you will see the Son of Man seated in the high place of power at God's right hand, and coming on the clouds of heaven." Then the high priest tore his clothing to show his horror and said, "Blasphemy! Why do we need another witness? You have all heard this blasphemy. What is your verdict?" "Guilty," they shouted. "He deserves to die." Then they began to spit in Jesus' face and beat him with their fists, and some slapped him, jeering, "Prophesy to us, you Messiah. Who hit you that time?" And now the commentary. Because of their haste to complete the trial and see Jesus die before the Sabbath, less than 24 hours away, the religious leaders met at Caiaphas' home at the night instead of waiting for daylight and meeting in the temple. The High Council was the most powerful religious and political body of the Jewish people. Although the Romans controlled Israel's government, they gave the people power to handle religious disputes and some civil disputes. So the High Council made many of the local decisions affecting daily life. But a death sentence had to be approved by the Romans. John 18, verse 31. The High Council tried to find witnesses who would distort some of Jesus' teachings. Finally, they found two witnesses who distorted Jesus' words about the temple. We find that in John chapter 2, verse 19. They claimed that Jesus had said he could destroy the temple, a blasphemous boast. Actually, Jesus had said, "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up." John chapter 2, verse 19. Again. Jesus, of course, had been talking about his body, not the building. Ironically, the religious leaders were about to destroy Jesus' body just as he had said, and 3 days later he would rise from the dead. Jesus declared his loyalty in no uncertain terms. His royalty, not his loyalty. Jesus declared his royalty in no uncertain terms. In calling himself the Son of Man, Jesus was claiming to be the Messiah, as his listeners well knew. He knew this declaration would be his undoing, but he did not panic. He was calm, courageous, and determined. The high priest accused Jesus of blasphemy, calling himself God. To the Jews, this was a great crime, punishable by death. Leviticus 24, verse 16. The religious leaders refused to even consider that Jesus' words might be true. They had decided to kill Jesus, and in so doing, they sealed their own fate as well as his. Like the members of the High Council, you must decide whether Jesus' words are blasphemy or truth. Your decision has eternal implications.
And that's something that we all need to consider, is that decision is the most important decision we'll ever make in our life.
Yep.
Whether or not to accept the free gift Jesus is offering us.
Mm-hmm.
But you also think about, they said everyone was slapping him in the face and spitting on him and things. How many times with our own actions
Mm-hmm.
do we spit in the face of Jesus?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's.
You know, we gut punch him and spit on him and everything with our own actions all the time.
Yeah.
And we don't ever think about that. We always want to just think about what they did at the time of crucifixion, but we very much do it today too.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's no doubt about that. And I forgot where it says that, but Jesus was led like a sheep to the slaughter without saying a word.
Mm.
You know, just like our sheep do. They just kind of, you know, take it and move on. You know, they're very meek animals. Okay.
He had all the power.
He had every bit of power.
He just didn't use it.
No.
Because he loved us.
He, like he said in the garden, he could have called down thousands of angels to destroy every living thing. You know, he could have destroyed the whole earth with just his voice if he wanted to.
Right. And still can.
And still can. You're absolutely right. There will be a picture. So it's the start of the trial, and there's a little map here about where everything's happening. And I think that's all we have for today. So I hope everybody has a glorious day, and we'll talk to you later.